Content is intended to provide accurate information, however, is not intended as financial, tax, or legal advice. Please consult a financial, legal, or tax professional for specific information regarding your individual situation. Opinions expressed and provided are for general informational purposes only and should not be considered a solicitation for the purchase or sale of any security.
Cornerstone Retirement Partners presents Your Course to Retirement with Grand Rapids Certified Financial Planner Ron Corser and Nolan Gosley. Cornerstone Retirement Partners are planning today for the potential of tomorrow.
Welcome into the program. This is Your Course to Retirement with Grand Rapids, resource for a common sense approach to planning. Navigating the financial world can be confusing, but CFP Ron Corser is here each and every week helping us chart and navigate our course to retirement. Part of Cornerstone Retirement Partners. Grand Rapids, your resource for the information that you need to make well thought through and informed decisions with your money. And Ron, we always appreciate the time and perspective that you provide to Grand Rapids area savers and investors.
Well, good morning, Peter, and good morning to everybody listening to today's program. We're right in the middle of summer. Isn't it great? Because I still think back when it was February in Michigan and we had 17 inches of snow on the ground and more coming. And I know it's we've gone through periods of really extreme heat, as a lot of the country has, but I always tell myself and other folks, remember February. I'll take all the heat I can get in place of February. So I think today's program is going to be a good one. It'll be probably a little more introspective than I've been in the past. And we're going to talk about a lot of things as to what we do, why we believe in what we do, how we can help people, and then some specific things that we'll get into. So I'm willing and ready and willing if you are, Peter.
Well, absolutely. And Ron, before the program today, we've had a little conversation about some recent road trips that you've taken. You and Nancy set out to travel the state of Michigan and see what was out there. We had some conversations about some other advisors within the state of Michigan and just how you are a little bit different, you feel, than some other advisors.
I tell you, we came back from a vacation, and for the first time, I had been in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. I did some scuba diving up there, but I've only been up there twice in my whole life. And I thought, let's just go. So we left Grand Rapids. For those of you who live in Michigan, we went up to Mackinac, and then we went all the way over to Copper Harbor and back down Wisconsin and took the boat back. Here's a couple things I learned. That you can't tell what a state is like just by looking at the map. Michigan is a lot bigger and a lot longer and a lot farther away than the map says. But we had an interesting experience. And here's the point. I thought we had really put together a reasonable plan for vacation. We had hotels split up along the way, things that we were going to do. And one of the things I really didn't do, and I've learned a lesson from that, is I didn't kind of get a second opinion on what we were going to do and how. I mean, my brother-in-law has been extensively in the Upper Peninsula. It never occurred to me to ask him. I just thought we had a handle on it. So what was the upshot? We did get to see the things that I wanted to see. Copper Harbor, some of the old time towns. We saw pictured rocks. Those in Michigan knows what those are. But here was the key. We actually took a road that we got lost on. It was a 2-lane highway. It turned into gravel and it stopped. And we didn't know what had happened or where we were. And we were on this road about an hour and 20 minutes. So we had to go all the way back. And then we got lost a couple other times with that little lady that's inside my wife's cell phone, and she gives us GPS coordinates. I'm not quite sure she was familiar with the geography, but we did get surrounded by confusion, as it were. And I thought, sometimes that happens to all of us when it comes to our financial plan for retirement. We think we do a lot of reading, we do a lot of studying, and we think we got this. We've uncovered all the obstacles. We know what we're going to do. We know where we're going, and we take off. And it seems like a really good plan. And then something happens, something unanticipated. We took a road that turned into a gravel road that turned into a dead end, and that wasn't on the map. So it's kind of like that with our retirement plan. We can do the best we can on our own, but sometimes perhaps a second set of eyeballs to look at the plan and to be as objective as humanly possible is a great help. And that's one of the things we try to help folks understand is what we do as a company. You can do all the planning. I'm good with that. You know, you can do rope out, get map out, do the road call, do everything like that. But sometimes it's still nice to have somebody take a second look and say, what is it you see here that I'm not seeing? Because sometimes in my own case, there's been times in my life where I don't know what I don't know. I mean, how can I don't know everything, but when it comes to certain things, I don't know what I don't know. And a lot of times we can Google it, can't we? We get onto YouTube and see how do we make this go or that go, but it still needs a human being to take a look at what we're doing.
Yeah.
So ladies and gentlemen, if you would like as objective as humanly possible, second opinion as to your plan or what you're planning to do or your thoughts, or you just want to come alongside of us and us alongside of you to try to figure out how the best way to map out your retirement plan, give us a call at 616-301-2581, 616-301-2581. We can help you along. We can kind of take a look at what you've done, what your thoughts and plans are, and answer that question. What is it I don't know that I don't know? It's really important.
Well, if you would like that help, again, give Cornerstone Retirement Partners a call, 616-301-2581, 616-301-2581. You can also visit online, cornerstone-rp.com, cornerstone-rp.com. And Ron, sometimes it's great and helpful and beneficial to get the opinions, to get the insight of somebody who's kind of been there and done that before. And for most of us, that's not retirement. We want to do retirement one time and one time only. We've got to get it right the first time. So consulting an advisor who has seen retirement many times over might help us navigate a little bit more optimal course in our retirement road trip.
It really is. Yeah, it really is true. You know, the mistakes that we made, I'm going to not blame my wife. I'm going to blame me.
We know that's probably the case.
She loves me dearly despite my faults. I just tell her, you know, guys are strange. Just live with it. But I was able to recover from some of the mistakes we made, getting lost. It was a vacation. We just drove a lot more, a lot longer. It didn't destroy the vacation. It didn't destroy what we were trying to do. It didn't have an impact other than I drove a lot longer than I wanted to. But if you think about it, sometimes going alone with a retirement plan, you sometimes don't have that mulligan. You don't get that do-over if you make a mistake. Sometimes people make certain plans, and because perhaps they didn't know what they didn't know or didn't know the right questions to ask, they find themselves in a situation of, man, how did I get here? Wow, what just happened? Can I get back? Is it possible? So that's what we want to encourage people to think about and encourage us to help you. That's what we can do. We can help people. And what I try to help folks understand is it's not so much about saying this is right and that's wrong. It really is about saying, okay, here you are today. Where are you trying to go? Tell me about your plan that you've laid out. What roadmap are you following? Because maybe I've been down that road before. And I can tell you that after 44 miles, that thing turns into gravel. And then it turns into a dead end. So some of the experience that we have, some of my personal experiences, even in my own personal planning, you know, I want everybody out there to understand that even in my personal planning, I haven't done exactly everything correctly. And it's always been, frankly, because I didn't ask somebody else who had more experience than me, who had been down that road. And one of the things that's interesting, and we know it intuitively as adults, all of us who have children, we've all looked back at what they've done or what they're doing and say, oh man, don't go there. This is not going to end well. Yeah. You know, been there, done that. Please let me help you. And sometimes they do, and sometimes they don't. But they do learn by experience. Unfortunately, sometimes good, sometimes bad. Well, the same things happened in my life. You know, when we look back, my wife and I, we created this business. Why did I go into this business? Why did I do this? Number one, I liked it. I enjoy helping people, and I liked the whole financial world. When I got in it, I didn't, 26 years ago, I obviously didn't have the experience and all of the things that you needed to have on day one. But over a period of time, we picked those things up. And it's been a business that we really look at, and we get a lot of satisfaction out of having people say to us, thank you. Thank you. Sometimes the people who say thank you don't become clients, but they've taken the time to come and talk with us and allow us to kind of give a second look at what they're doing. My wife, Nancy, does great work when it comes to the Social Security, Medicare planning, and people have raved about her to me. They really have, and it well-deserved. Because when you think about it, the business model that we have is perhaps a little different from a lot of the models out there. What do I mean by that? Yes, we do help with investments. We do that, just like everybody else. Perhaps we approach it a little differently and might be able to share a little insight philosophically of what we do. But the other parts that we do is more, I think, helpful to people. We help them plan on when's the best time to take their Social Security benefit. There are a lot of options still available to people. So we help them because that's part of the ultimate, do I have enough income in retirement to retire question. How am I going to use Social Security to maximize the benefit? What am I going to do about healthcare? Turning 65, how do I make sense out of all this Medicare stuff? How do we do it? My wife is great at that and her staff. She has a full staff of people that help because it is somewhat complicated. I joke with people and say, I think the Medicare system was designed by a 32-year-old because he created a website that he really likes, but not that many people understand it. But we can make headway through that. My wife can do that. So our firm is more perhaps fully integrated with different aspects that are important to the final question of, am I going to have enough income in retirement to retire, and can I maintain my lifestyle? Because that includes not only an investment plan, but an income plan in retirement. And also, what are we going to do about Social Security? What are we going to do about Medicare? So if those things are important to you, of how to put a whole plan together, give us a call, ladies and gentlemen, at 616-301-2581. Excuse me, 616-301-2581, or go to our website, cornerstone-rp.com. Put your number in there, question, and we'll get back to you as quickly as we can.
Again, cornerstone-rp.com, cornerstone-rp.com, or 616-301-2581, 616-301-2581. So Ron, kind of completing the analogy here of asking somebody who has seen it before, who has done that, who has traveled there's opinion. You have the experience in the area of retirement planning. It's a little different than maybe some other advisors that are out there. So could you explain why that background is important in the fact that you have helped so many make that transition to retirement? How is that different? Maybe how does it give a different perspective, or how do your philosophies help those that are in that specific area of their financial progress make the best decisions?
That's a good question. And I'm reminded, because I just had this conversation last week, I'm reminded when my first child was just about to get born. We had never been parents before, but we had some help along the way and what to do. But for everybody out there, that first child, that's always the great unknown. That's that deep, dark abyss that you go into and you just handle whatever's going on as it goes on. When we had the second child, it was a lot easier. We knew what to expect. And a lot of it's the experience. I've been doing this for 26 years. I started off in 1994. So as an advisor and as a firm, we've been through really good markets. We've seen two really horrible collapses. We've seen bounce backs and everything in between. So one of the things that helps is that our frame of reference goes back almost 3 decades. And it impacts how we look at money, how we look at retirement planning, how we look at investing. I was always amazed when I got into this business in the early 90s And then we went through the great 1995 to January 1, 2000. It didn't matter what you did. You couldn't make a mistake in the stock market. Just pick a mutual fund, which were really big that time, didn't have many exchange traded funds, buy a stock that said .com, and you're off to the races. And that worked. I mean, I can remember talking to people that were planning on retiring. They were 35 and planning on retiring at age 48, because given the amount of money that they were making in the market, they figured they could do it. And then the market collapsed. And a lot of people were harmed. And some people, particularly those close to retirement, were harmed irreparably. They never recovered. And there's something called sequence risk we talk about. So we went through 2008 debacle too, but prior to that, remember, real estate was always going to be up. Real estate was always just going like crazy. People were flipping houses, mortgages were cheap, they were being collateralized. This was a new normal. Things really were different again this time until they weren't, and then it blew up. And then most recently, we had this coronavirus issue back in 2020 in March, when for the first time in the history of our country, they shut the market down. Now, if you were, say, 30 years old going through all of this, and you've been somewhat judicious in the way you've managed your money, you've recovered from all of those things, hopefully. And you have a future ahead of you that makes great sense. But if at any one of those times, 2000, 2008, coronavirus, you were within a year or two of retiring, man, maybe your retirement plan has been wounded at best or harmed at worst because of what you faced. And see, sometimes as investors, and I'm a human being, just like you, Peter, I always think if it rained today, it's going to rain tomorrow. If it's sunshiny today, it's going to be sunshiny tomorrow. We tend to think that way. I do. Human beings do. So what's the point of all this? Sometimes because we've gone through certain things, we can be of help to people looking forward. You know, everybody says, well, this is going to be different now. The government's spending and printing trillions of dollars. This is going to work out fine. And my response is, really? How do you print trillions of dollars and hope that it's going to ultimately work out fine? Now it may, I don't know that it won't, but my inclination is to say, maybe there's some choppy water coming on this little adventure that we're in. What's our plan if it doesn't work perfectly? See, part of planning is interesting. Think about this. We can plan to perfection. We can say everything is going, this is exactly how it's going to be working. It's a perfect plan. Rarely do perfect plans last very long. So the real key to a really solid plan is that you put some wiggle room in there. What do I mean by that? You say, this is the plan, but we're going to evaluate it every 6 months or sooner if we have to. This is the plan. We're going to make sure that it continues to work year after year. This is the plan. But if we have to make a change, we'll do the best we can to make the best decision to deal with whatever's coming down the road at us. So those are some of the ways we look at the things in the world that perhaps some other people may not, given the amount of experience they have. So I just tell folks, I know a lot. I don't know everything. I really don't. But I do know this, because I've seen it happen. Markets go up, markets go down, markets go sideways. We can't predict what the market's going to do tomorrow. I mean, it's easier, I think, to predict what the weather's going to be tomorrow than it is the market. So anybody out there listening to today's program, if you think you need some help predicting the weather, I'm not too good at that. If you need some help predicting what the future might hold financially, give us a call, 616-301-2581, 616-301-2581. Be more than happy to talk with you, to help you any way we can, to give you the best kind of advice with the best kind of options available to you. Because remember, everybody's created uniquely by the God that created us. So one plan and one strategy may work for one person. It may not be the best or the exact model that somebody else should do. Everything has to be tailored to you, ladies and gentlemen. Those of you listening to today's program or talking to your friends, it has to be tailored to you. There is no one right size fits all. So give us a call, 616-301-2581, 616-301-2581. We can help you with these kinds of things.
616-301-2581, the number to call to reach Ron Corser, a certified financial planner, and the team there at Cornerstone Retirement Partners. You can also visit online, cornerstone-rp.com, cornerstone-rp.com, or call 616-301-2581, 616-301-2581. Ron, a lot of people base their future financial security on the market being pretty generous, being a bull market and continuing to move in an upward direction. And I don't want to put any kind of words in your mouth here, but do you expect the next 10 years in the market to look like the last 10 years have looked? The last 10 years have been pretty fantastic. Should we be kind of counting and relying on that to continue?
I think the way I'd answer that, Peter, is this: is definitely yes, maybe. I have no idea, but I hope it does.
Okay.
Does that cover it?
Those would not have been the words that I would have put it in your mouth. So I'm glad I didn't.
If we look back, and I'm going to try to draw a little mental picture. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go back to 1990. That was the beginning of one of the greatest bull runs in the history of our economy and our market. So we went from 1990 to January 1st, 2000. People made tons of dough. Then the next 10 years, that next decade is called the lost decade in our industry, because for 10 years, the market basically didn't go anywhere. There was no growth. We had two major corrections and some other wobbly things. So then we got into this third one. It went from 2011 to 2020, and that market was up. So going back to 1990, the last 30 years, the market has been up, the market went down, the market went up. So if you didn't need any investment income for those whole 30 years, you should have been in a position to say, I have more money today than I did 30 years ago. The difficulty comes if you're retiring today or in the next few years. What's the next 10 years look like? And the answer to that is nobody knows. But there's an ebb and flow to the markets, isn't there? We know that. We know that government spending and the economy is not, they're not in the best shape, or the most worrisome things going on out there. It's kind of scary. But we know that if we're getting close to retirement, we can't afford to have 10 or 15%, let alone 50% of our life savings go away. We know that if we've entered in retirement, we can't afford to have 10 or 15% of our life savings or more go away. What we do know is that as we get closer to retirement, what we need to do is answer the questions. Here are the questions. When can I retire? How do I know when I can retire? And the second question is, will I have enough income in retirement to retire? They kind of seem to be the same, but they're a little different. I get the question a lot when people come in for the first time. They've listened to a radio program or somebody's introduced them to us. And I've said, well, what are the things you want to cover while we're together? They say, I don't want to know when I can retire. I said, okay, what are you thinking about right now? Well, I want to retire tomorrow. Okay, let's take a look at that. Or I'm planning on retiring in 3 years. Whatever that horizon is, let's take a look and see, does it make sense? How do we know does it make sense? Ladies and gentlemen, here's the secret to effective, successful retirement planning. Always create a retirement income plan in retirement first, because that'll tell you if you can retire. If you've got, no matter what you've saved, life savings, and you can't generate enough income out of that in retirement to secure and hold on to your lifestyle, in addition to perhaps a pension and Social Security income, chances are the answer you're going to get from us is going to be a gentle but firm, you can't afford to retire right now. It's too scary. That's why the key to retirement planning is not, oh, I got to have more. I mean, that's a natural thing. Wall Street talks about growth, 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 more and more and more, because the more you have, the more you can take and all of that stuff. But that's not from our point of view. And it's one of the philosophical differences perhaps that our firm has versus other firms, is we tend to look at the most important planning objective is, can we create an income plan in retirement to give you all the income you need to retire and maintain your lifestyle without using all your money to do that? That's the key. So that's number one. Number two, when you get into retirement, you got to ask a question. Are you going to keep spending money like you're spending it? Or have you spent about all you're going to spend? Did you buy your third vintage Maserati? You know, do you have enough lakefront property? Things like that people talk about. And an important thing is, how much debt do you carry? We all know that debt is a giant anchor around our neck. It's manageable when we're working. It becomes less manageable when we're retired. So part of the equation of trying to figure out, can you retire and will you have enough money, is tell us about the debt load you're carrying. Because we have to be able to, in a plan, a retirement plan, we have to be able to manage that. So those are a couple of the key questions. Ladies and gentlemen, if those questions make sense to you, if you need an answer for those questions, give us a call at 616-301-2581. 616-301-2581. Be more than happy to help you with these. These are important questions that people have to know. One of the scariest things I hear from people, and I consider it scary after 26 years in this business, is I have X number of dollars I've saved, and if I can just take 4% out of those, just peel that off every year, I'm going to be fine. Well, you're assuming that your market value of your life savings is going to stay the same through all those years or go up. Those are nice things to wish for, but from a planning point of view, I don't think it makes a lot of sense. I think it adds insecurity into a plan where you're trying to get financial security. So give us a call at 616-301-2581, 616-301-2581. And don't go off the beaten path like we did in the Upper Peninsula, my wife Nancy and I, because that was a 3-hour adventure for us, man, there. So
kind of like Gilligan's 3-hour tour. Yeah. Well, Ron, you're back, and you made it home safe and sound. So we're glad for that. And we always appreciate the down to earth, common sense kind of guidance and advice that you provide, that we need to have that plan in place, and the plan needs to address and pay attention to the most important things to provide us financial security. And again, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but what I did not hear you say is that we're shooting for 10 or 12% returns, or if you invest in mutual funds, you should beat the returns of the market. Nor did I hear you say that you must have $1 million to come talk to you. So I'd like to address all of those things after the break here and get your take on that, as well as where the conversation should begin with a financial professional, or what questions should be asking when we travel to a place that we've never been before, and making that trip to retirement. But we do need to take a quick break just for the sake of time here, ladies and gentlemen. But now's a great time for you to pick up the phone and be in touch. Give Cornerstone Retirement Partners a call, 616-301-2581, 616-301-2581. The reason why you would give them a call is that they will help analyze your situation. They will help you identify and address the risks that you are taking, the fees that you're paying, the taxes that you may be liable for, how to create that income and spending plan for retirement. That is part of the Course to Retirement written plan that they will help you put together, or double check your current plan to make sure that it addresses all of those factors. 616-301-2581, 616-301-2581, the number to call. We do need to take a quick break, but we'll be back with certified financial planner Ron Courser in just a moment here on Your Course to Retirement.
Cornerstone Retirement Partners presents Your Course to Retirement with Grand Rapids Certified Financial Planner Ron Courser and Nolan Gosley. Cornerstone Retirement Partners are planning today for the potential of tomorrow. Visit cornerstone-rp.com for many valuable resources, including those mentioned on this show and other great episodes of Your Course to Retirement.
And we're back here with CFP, Certified Financial Planner Ron Courser. He helps us through the complexities of the financial world, become more educated to make more informed, well thought through decisions. Grand Rapids area savers and investors, if you've got questions or concerns, you have a resource. Ron Courser, they're one of the partners at Cornerstone Retirement Partners. And if you do have those questions or concerns about your financial plan, or your financial future. Pick up the phone and give them a call. Address those concerns. Get them off of your mind. 616-301-2581. 616-301-2581, or visit online cornerstone-rp.com, cornerstone-rp.com. Ron, we spent the first portion of the program talking about the fact that when we travel to a place that we've never been before, it might be a good idea to kind of get the opinions of others that have been there before, get the lay of the land. And as we were talking about that from a financial sense, a couple things that I noticed is that you didn't say we were shooting for 10 or 12% rate of returns, or that we are aiming to invest in mutual funds that will beat the returns of the market. Nor did I hear you say that you must have $1 million in order to come and talk to you about our financial situation. Why are maybe those not important factors for someone who has questions before they come and talk to you?
Well, I'd answer it this way. Number one, not everybody has $1 million. So it's like, this is what we have. How are we going to make it work? Number two, whether mutual funds or exchange traded funds, stocks, bonds will work for somebody, I can't tell you that over the radio right now, whether for any individual listening to today's program, that's the right solution. I just simply don't know until we get to know the people better. But here's what I do know. I do know that it's important to take a really broad brush when it comes to painting a picture for retirement. I'll give you a great example. Met somebody who listened to today's, well, not today's program, but a program earlier. And they came in just for a review. They had done some planning with another advisor and they were content with it, but they just wanted a second set of eyeballs and stuff. And I said, I would do that for them. And when I looked at what the plan they had, the investment strategy was pretty good. And I told them that. I said, so let me ask you a couple more questions. You seem to have the investment strategy down pretty good. Tell me about your income plan. And there was silence. He said, well, I'm going to take it out of my investments. And I said, well, how much you can take out? Well, I'm going to take out about 4.5%, maybe 5% once in a while. And I said, okay, what are you going to do with your Social Security benefit? And he said, well, I guess I'm going to take it. And the answer was, I really haven't had anybody help me figure it out. Here's the point I'm trying to make. They had a good investment strategy from my point of view, based on what they told me. But that's just part of the plan. Their advisor really didn't focus on what about the investment part that says, I need to have income and I need to think about Social Security. What are the best ways to take the Social Security benefit for myself and my wife? Also, in a year and a half, Medicare is coming down the road. What do I need to begin to plan for that? So I said, you have a really good investment plan. I think it makes sense for you. But the places where you need more information and help is, how are you going to implement your Social Security plan? What is your plan for the kind of Medicare healthcare you want to provide? And they realized that there was a hole there, so to speak, or there was something they hadn't covered, even though they thought they had. So ultimately, we were able to help them. And ultimately, they were very pleased with the kind of help we gave them. So that's kind of the approach we take. It's more than just one thing. I mean, Peter, we've talked about you having $10 million. You know, I'm really happy for you, man. You've done good.
Me too. Yeah,
You know?
feeling good about it.
But I've also asked you a lot of times, how much income do you need every year to maintain your lifestyle? And you, being a very conservative person, said, well, I need $1 million a year, I'll do it.
I got to fuel up my jet.
Absolutely. So you got $1 million and you need 100,000 or so. You know, it's not going to work. And there's more things involved in that. So we can help folks do that. And it's one of the things that I encourage people to do, is to always say, what else and what if? Those are two really great questions to ask your advisor, or ask us. What else is there to consider? And the what if about those things? Because then you make it much more difficult to be surprised by, oh my goodness, we didn't talk about this. We didn't cover this. I never even thought about to ask about this. So it's important to do that so that you don't get lost. And the other part that we talk a lot about is, you know, tell me in your own mind, what does money mean to you? We ask that question a lot because that helps us understand the human being in front of us that we're trying to help. What does money mean to you? And you get a lot of different answers, but those answers shed light on how we can really be helpful to people. You know, it's not about the plan they read about in a business magazine or heard about on TV or got an advertisement about it. It's, tell me what money means to you. What does your life savings mean to you? What do you want it to accomplish? What's important to you? What do you want to be remembered for? You know, we talk a lot about legacy planning, and it always seems to turn around to be leaving money to children or grandchildren. And I say, no, legacy is about a whole lot more than that. Legacy is about creating memories, because the life expectancy of all of us is at some point in time goes to zero. So what are we going to be left with? What do I think about when I think about my mom or my grandparents who raised me when I was young? I think about those wonderful memories. Now, when I was raised by my grandparents, I was in a little coal mining town in Vittendale, Pennsylvania, you know, with a coal stove and an outhouse, so to speak. I love telling that story. It makes my kids' eyes roll. And it's, I enjoy that because they just go, oh, Lord, Dad's going to start talking about his young experiences. But I remember the things. I remember being loved. I remember being cared for. I remember laughing. And that's what legacy planning is about. It's not just about the money. We have more than a handful of clients that now that COVID has come out and been kind of let us go, who've taken that trip that they had to postpone with the children, with the grandchildren. You know, that 2-weeker down in Florida or going to Disneyland or whatever it is. They're making memories. That's what legacy planning really is about. And it's also about making sure that your estate is squared away, that if God calls you home tomorrow, it's going to be really simple for your kids or grandchildren to do whatever it is you decided you wanted them to do with what you're leaving them. So there's a lot of things involved in this and a lot of questions to ask. And some of them are not so much about your money, but some of them are just tell me what's important to you. You can ask me what's important to me as your advisor, and I'll share that with you. Sometimes I already done it on this program. But it's important to get to know people. It's important to get to understand them. And so we try to do that. We try to find out where are the roadblocks. What's keeping you right now from doing what you want to do? I've got a really wonderful client. He's getting ready to retire early. And the reason is that his job in corporate America has just become awful, just awful. And I hear that a lot from people who are still working out there, that the company they work for is not the same company they knew 10 or 20 years ago. So the planning we had to do was, hey, Ron, if I want to get out of this by the end of the year, do I have enough money in retirement? Do I have enough income? What do I got to do? So we went through that whole process over a couple different meetings, so that the final result was I said to him, if you want to leave that company, and he's only going to be 60 years old, if you want to leave that company and get out of there at the end of this year, you've got enough money to do it. You'll have enough income coming in to do it. We got a good plan here for you, so you can do that. That's the kind of planning we help people with. That's the kind of planning I get an incredible sense of accomplishment about, because it's not so much about the dollar signs as it is, you know what? We figured out how you can get out of that kind of uncomfortable situation where you can go out and get a different kind of part-time job, whatever you want to do, where you and your wife can spend more time together instead of going home saying, man, I survived another day. I hear that a lot from folks that are working in the outside world there. And we try to help with that to make sure that no matter what happens, even if the boss comes to you this Friday and says, you know, Peter, we love you a lot, but not that much. We got to make some changes. So that's the kind of planning stuff that I absolutely, I thank God for, because it's able to make a difference in somebody's life, and everybody's different. So the plan is different. So ladies and gentlemen, if any of this makes any sense to you, or you want to participate in some of that, Let us get to know you. Let us get to help you. Give us a call, 616-301-2581, 616-301-2581, or go to our website, cornerstoneretirementpartners.com. Could be cornerstonerp-.com. I always got to remember that dash in there. And we'll help you. We will help you. And it's something we do, and it's something we enjoy doing. My partner Nolan and I, we think a lot alike, even though he's younger than me. But we think a lot alike. My wife Nancy can help with Social Security and Medicare planning and long-term planning, those kinds of things. So if any of that is something you'd like to take advantage of, use us. I tell people, just use us. We're here for that purpose. Give us a call, 616-301-2581. Be more than happy to help you.
616-301-2581, cornerstone-rp.com, cornerstone-rp.com. I think when we're talking about legacy, Ron, yes, money, memories, values, those are the things that we want to pass on. And perhaps the memories and the values, I would say, supersede and are more important than the money itself. But when money is involved, we've got to prepare the money to pass on to those beneficiaries, to our legacy and our next generation, as efficiently as possible, as best we can. We want to make the best use of it, and we want them to make the best use of it as well. And that's why not only do we need to prepare the money for the people, but we need to prepare the people for the money. And we've got to sort of have those conversations ahead of time to make sure that those values with our money is also passed along with it.
Yeah, it's really important, and I think as you were talking, it occurred to me, what kind of questions people should ask us if they meet us for the time, or ask their advisor.
Sure.
One of the key questions is, okay, you've chosen these certain investments. Why have you chosen them? What do they do that's important to help me achieve success in retirement? It's not just, well, here's 17 mutual funds or 16 stocks, have a nice day. It's Mr. and Mrs. Advisor, why are you choosing these things? Why will you think they work for me? What are they supposed to do? It's really important. A lot of times we talk about inflation and the fear of inflation. So how does that impact somebody retiring this year or planning for retirement, or just trying to reconfigure their 401k plan? Well, do you understand the impact of rising interest rates on bond portfolios? Do you understand if interest rates go up or the fear of inflation goes up, do you understand what potentially could happen to value of your bond holdings? Will they go up or down in value? Will they lose money? Will they gain money? Those are some of the things that we cover with people when we say, here's a potential investment strategy. Here's some of the things that we're putting in there. Here are the reasons why. Maybe right now with the fear of inflation and everything, perhaps somebody's reliance on bonds totally might not be the best object for them going forward. Where 10 years ago, that might have been a good strategy. We always think of bonds as being safe, but they're not necessarily safe in terms of preserving principal. So that's one of the things that people should ask. Why are you putting bonds in my portfolio if interest rates are going up and the threat of inflation's there? You have to have an answer for that. Or why are you saying I should invest in these particular sectors of the stock market when we're printing money or we're spending money or whatever it is we're doing? Why are you doing this? It's the most important question. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want answers as to why your portfolio is doing what it's doing, and you want to understand it more, you want to understand how we work with you, give us a call at 616-301-2581, 616-301-2581. We can help you with answers. We can.
Ron, are there any questions that that you as an advisor have for your clients as they come in that basically give you a gauge of whether or not they have a solid plan already in place, that would give you an indication of if they're in good shape, or maybe if they need to have some adjustments or have a plan crafted and created for them.
That's a great thought to lead in with. Here's what we do. When somebody comes in and they're somewhat convinced they have a pretty good plan, before I ask them about that plan, I try to understand what they're trying to accomplish. It may be a simple question I thought earlier, tell me what money means to you. It may be another question of, given your current plan, which you've just brought in, that we haven't even talked about yet, what problem does it solve? What problem does it solve? If somebody can say, well, I wanted it to do this, then the question is, well, do you know if it will? And if the answer is, I'm not sure, then that's the beginning way of we can work together. We can try to answer that question. So a couple of questions is, and I ask him, what is the importance of money to you? And what is your current investment strategy designed to do or to fix or to overcome? Or what problem is it going to solve? And if you have a really firm answer on those things, you're probably going to be in good shape. If you're not sure about them, man, that's where we can really help you. So give us a call at 616-301-2581, 616-301-2581. A couple other questions that sometimes you should ask the advisor. Tell me about your investment strategy.
Okay, fair enough.
You know, I welcome that question. And people have to understand that my investment strategy, and I explain what it's based on, why we're doing what we're doing, my wife and I. That gives them an idea of how we think. So ask that guy to say, look, you're investing your life savings. How are you doing it? And get them to be as specific as possible. I will share a lot of the specifics of our investment plan. All our clients understand how we're allocated. I make it a point for that. And I'm a human being. I'm different than a lot of other clients, and they're different from me. But it's a plan that I expressed that says it's tailored to what my wife Nancy and I view as important. And it's based, I tell people, I smile about it. I said, it's based on what I talk about in my radio program and what I've talked to you about. It's based on having all the income and retirement I need to retire if I ever decide to retire. And I'm not, as long as God lets me do this and I don't start drooling in front of you, Peter, and then I would hope you'd get my wife and she'll take me to the facility. But ask that question. Tell me how your investment plan works and why. It doesn't have to be the same, but tell me why, how you think. That'll give you an idea how people think. And that'll kind of give you an idea of what perhaps potential advice you might give or get from them. So those are important questions to ask. That makes sense?
It does. Do a lot of people have questions about where the market is right now and the risks that they are exposed to with the market? Concerns about maybe losing money if the market does not continue in a positive direction?
You know, they do. And some of them think the market's going up and it's going to go up more and more and higher and higher. And I tell them, I hope so. And there's others that say, man, the market's high. I'm really worried about what's going on in our economy, what the government's doing. You know, I don't want to lose a bunch of money. What are we going to do? Those seem to be the two general responses we get. And I tell people, I don't know what the market's going to do, but let's plan on it wanting to continue to go up. There'll be more volatility. I really believe that. We're going to see current volatility levels stay the same and maybe some big spikes in it. But that doesn't mean the market can't go up. But I also say, be very wary that it's a really fragile stock market right now. It doesn't take much to get this thing to get the Dow to lose 300 points. It doesn't take much. It really doesn't. But it's fragile. It's like when we were kids and we go out on the pond or the lake and we'd see how far we could go out as the ice was getting thinner and thinner.
Dangerous game.
That's kind of where a lot of people are right now. We're on thin ice. So what are we going to do? Other people think, no, the government's going to continue to print and spend money and it's going to be okay in a market. Probably both those approaches are correct in some fashion. It really is just deciding where do you come down on that. The market's going to keep going up forever. And the market always does go up. I mean, it's gone up over the last 150 years. It's just been those times when it's gone down dramatically that it really has altered people's life and their lifestyle. So that's what we have to protect against. So either approach will work. There's risks to both. What are the risks if you're thinking that perhaps the market's going to correct? Maybe we invest in a conservative style and you miss some upside. Okay, that's not good. What are the risks if we assume that, the market's going to continue to want to gyrate higher and higher, and so we're going to take on more risk than we might have done 2 years ago or last year? Well, the risk is you could be incorrect in your thinking, and maybe it doesn't go up. And boy, it hurts when we lose money. On the other hand, if you hit it right with a little bit of luck, you're going to be ecstatic. You're going to be in hog heaven. So it's important to know what the potential outcomes are for however you look at the world.
Ron, as you're saying that, a thought came to my mind that if we have a plan in place and the market continues to go up, fantastic, we benefit. And if we have a plan in place and the market goes down, not fantastic, but at least we're prepared. If we don't have a plan in place, though, on the other side, and the market goes up, essentially that's just luck. And if we don't have a plan in place and then the market falls and goes down, that could significantly impact our financial future. So of those 4 quadrants, there's definitely half that it's more beneficial. There's one that's ideal and there's one that could be catastrophic. But having the plan puts us in the better half of either scenario.
Well, a good plan that includes not only investment strategies, but how you're going to deal with healthcare, Social Security benefits, that kind of thing. A good plan gives you control, as much control as is earthly possible, to make sure that whatever is going on, you're able to respond properly to it. Sometimes I tell people, it's possible to profit from bad things happening in the market if you've built a plan that kind of assumes that maybe something bad might happen. So you can be successful in good markets, in bad markets. The key is not to get your head handed to you when any of those things happen, because that'll destroy your lifestyle and your plan. And always remember, the more control you have in terms of the plan, how in depth it goes, how many what ifs does it kind of cover, how many what ifs have you talked about, the more control you have, the more secure you will feel, and you'll have peace of mind that, okay, we've got a plan. If this happens, then this will happen. If this, then that. You're not kind of out there getting blown around like a leaf in fall in the wind, just going wherever it may go. You have control, and control is a really wonderful thing. I'm not talking about being a hardcore control freak. I'm talking about having a handle on your financial world and all that it entails, so that you can navigate whatever's coming down the road. That's the key. That's what a good plan does. It gives you some control, but it also gives you something that money can't buy, and that's peace of mind. To know that you got this, you've thought about it, you're going to be okay. And if you need to make a change, that flexibility is built into the plan, so you can make that change and not miss a beat.
Well, if you need any help or assistance in formulating that plan and making sure that you have addressed the risks that we will face in the financial world, if you'd like to get a better understanding of the team at Cornerstone Retirement Partners and the services that they provide to help benefit your future financial progress and success, to lay the plan in place to give you a firm foundation for success into the future, pick up the phone and give a call, 616-301-2581, 616-301-2581, 616-301-2581, the number to call. Cornerstone-rp.com, Cornerstone-rp.com, online to find a lot of additional resources. You can go back and listen to archives of the podcast. They've got reports and white papers, information on just about every financial topic available online there. It is your resource. If you are serious about your planning and your financial future, Grand Rapids, surrounding areas, give Cornerstone Retirement Partners a call, 616-301-2581, 616-301-2581. Get that plan in place to feel more confident about your journey, your travel into your financial future. And Ron, we always appreciate your perspective as a certified financial planner and the valuable opportunity that you provide as an extension to this program to help savers and investors and those serious about their financial future get that plan in place. Thank you for being here.
You're very welcome. I had a good time today. Remember, just because you got the map doesn't mean you're not going to get lost. So get a second set of eyes out there. Other than that, you have a blessed weekend and take care. Thank you.
Ron Corser, looking forward to hearing from you, ladies and gentlemen, helping and assisting in any way you can. 616-301-2581. We'll talk to you next time on Your Course to Retirement or Real Estate.
Tune into Cornerstone Retirement Partners' full radio program, Your Course to Retirement, Sunday mornings at 9 o'clock at News Radio WOOD, or visit cornerstone-rp.com for many valuable resources, including those mentioned on this show and other great episodes of Your Course to Retirement.
The content of this radio show is provided for informational purposes only and is not a solicitation or recommendation of any investment strategy. You are encouraged to seek investment, tax, or legal advice from an independent professional advisor.
Ed Slott's Elite IRA Advisor Group is solely an indication that the financial advisor has attended training provided by Ed Slott and Company, passed biannual examinations on material covered at conferences and in webinars, and met other membership requirements and does not constitute an endorsement of any kind. Ed Slott's Elite IRA Advisor Group members pay a fee for the educational programs that allow them to be included in the Ed Slott's Elite IRA Advisor Group. Membership does not guarantee investment success. Fiduciary duty extends solely to investment advisory advice and does not extend to other activities such as insurance or broker-dealer services.
Advisory services offered through Brookstone Capital Management, a registered investment advisor.
Advisory clients are charged a quarterly fee for assets under management, while insurance products pay a commission, which may result in a conflict of interest regarding compensation.
Any investments and/or investment strategies mentioned involve risk, including the possible loss of principal. Any comments regarding safe and secure investments and guaranteed income streams refer only to fixed insurance products. They do not refer in any way to securities or investment advisory products. Annuity guarantees are based solely on the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing company. Withdrawals of growth from annuities may be taxable as ordinary income in the year it is taken. Individuals should review contracts for specific details of the product's features and costs. Early withdrawals may subject the owner to penalties, fees, or taxes.